Hello everyone, hope you're all having a great day. My name is Luis. I am the owner of Princess Sophia, and I actually used to do these driving vlogs on my other channel before I began Sophia's channel, and I decided to kind of mix both of them up. I haven't had this beautiful little princess for a long time, maybe 3 months or so, but for all those people out there that want to get a bearded dragon and want to start, somewhere here is a perfect spot to start, because I was one of you about 3 months ago, and I wish I had done my research, because I would have saved a lot of money if I had done the proper research. Our previous pet, Philip, who was a cockatiel bird, he passed away after 21 years, and he wasn't sick or anything. He just, I looked it up, 21 cockatiel years is 89 human years, so just like any 89-year-old human, he lived a long and happy life. I was heartbroken, of course. I love my pets dearly. They're part of my family. They feel pain, they feel happiness, they feel hunger, they feel cold, they feel hot. So I treat them just the same way I would treat, my nephews. And speaking of my nephew lives with us. And he, Philip being 21 years old and my nephew being 6 years old, my nephew had known Philip ever since he was born. I personally did not want to go right away and get another pet. I was like, I love Philip, but I'm not ready for another pet. However, my nephew was like, we have to go get another pet. We have to. People sometimes don't understand me. I love like rats and mouses and stuff like that, tarantulas. I even got a tarantula once, and I had to return it because nobody would come inside my house thinking they were going to get attacked by a tarantula. She was so beautiful. She was from I think Honduras or Nicaragua. She was pink. Oh, she was beautiful. This happened when the whole coronavirus pandemic was taking off here in the US. So a lot of movement had already stopped. And when we went to PetSmart, when we went to Petco, all we found was like empty, cages or terrariums. And so I was like, well, I guess, because my nephew wanted a guinea pig. Now, I've had a guinea pig in the past, and that was a whole other heartbreaking story. He got pneumonia, and to have an operation and have the water removed from his lungs, it was just so expensive. And they were like, well, he's going to basically have problems breathing if you don't have his operation, and he's going to just die. So I had to put him down, and that was also heartbreaking. So I've already had my guinea pig heartbreak. So I was like, and then another thing, no matter how well you take care of these beautiful animals, their lifespans are not very long. The same thing with hamsters or rats. We went to this like family-owned pet store, and I called beforehand, and they were like, oh yeah, we have tons of pets available. They had tons of reptiles, and I explained to he wasn't the owner, he was the owner's brother. I explained to him that I wanted to get a pet, for myself and also for my nephew, who's 6 years old. And he was like, well, why don't you try the iguana? He kept trying to get away from me and jump away, and I was like, and then it had humongous claws. And it actually, when the manager, who's the owner's brother, when he got the iguana and gave him to me, the iguana scratched him and he was actually bleeding. And I was like, no way, I can't have that, And then my nephew, when he saw all that, he was like running away as far away as he could inside that store. He was like 5 aisles down in the corner, like, oh my God, like freaking out, thinking that the iguana was gonna jump on him. So then he was like, you know what? He's like, we have a new batch of baby bearded dragons, and he's like, baby bearded dragons are like really docile, they're cute, and he's like, no, they're not illegal. Chinchillas are illegal. Anyway, I already showed you a picture of a chinchilla the other day. So anyway, so they were so cute. They were tiny. I thought they were geckos. I don't know, but they're not. They were bearded dragons. And he actually took one out, and he was like, this one's my favorite. And he's like, I love him because of the pattern. The pattern on his back looked like he had like dots down his back. Like it looked like a snake pattern. And I was like, oh, cute. And then I got to hold it. It was tiny. It fit in my hand. My nephew was still like, freaked out by the iguana and thought that this little baby was going to do the same thing, and he wouldn't come near it. But I was like, okay, we can work with this. And then that's when I made my first mistake. I asked them, I'm like, so are these guys, do they thrive with a companion, or are they like solitary? I didn't do my research properly, because I really honestly didn't even know what we were going to get that day, if anything. And we ended up getting the bearded dragons, and then the manager was like, yeah, get 2, because even as humans, everybody loves companionship, just like as humans. And I was like, okay, so I'll get 2. So I had to return or surrender back one of the beardies, and it was for the best of everyone. And it was kind of like I don't know, I kind of felt cheated a little bit, because they didn't offer me like, oh, would you like a credit of $80, or would you take at least half back? Or I was expecting them to do some kind of thing, because it hadn't been too long, and it was because of the manager that I had bought 2 of them. And I was returning it, and they were like, okay, you can return it, but no money back. So I got no money back. So there goes my first $80. So the Serpentarium finally came into the picture, and they're really great people, great customer service. They have great knowledge, but sometimes you just, again, it goes to show that you live and learn. You just can't trust everything everybody says. So at the Serpentarium, they were like, oh, well, we have crickets, we have dubia roaches, we have silkworms, we have mealworms, we have this. we have Phoenix worms, we have all of these. So by this time I was doing a little more research on YouTube about what I could feed my Princess Sophia, and I saw that mealworms were not a good thing to do. So I did buy her mealworms once or twice, I think, and then I never bought them again. And then I saw the dubia roaches, and I was like, okay, never in my life would I thought would come a day where I would be buying cockroaches. Not that we've never had a cockroach problem at my house, and I was like, I can't believe I'm buying cockroaches and bringing them into my house. And the people at the Serpentarium were like, well, you don't have to worry. If one of them like gets loose for some reason, they're not going to go off and start their whole colony. They don't recreate like, you know, I guess regular cockroaches do. So that kind of made me feel a little bit better, and I gave her dubia roaches. So dubia roaches and hornworms, because if you notice, bearded dragons do not like to drink a lot of water. And I would sometimes spray a little bit of water on her head, and yeah, I would seep down through her mouth. But it's like, man, these little guys, I know that they're desert creatures, but they must need some kind of hydration. At the Serpentarium, they have like memberships, and I bought a membership because I was, you know, going there a lot now, because I stopped going to PetSmart, I stopped going to Petco. I sometimes went to Carter's Pet Mart where I bought them, the family-owned business where I bought them, but after they did that to me with the whole, oh, get two of them, they love to be, you know, I was like, good sales pitch, but not the right thing to do. Before taking her to the Serpentarium, I had taken her to a vet just to get a wellness check, and they were like, oh, it's great, it's a baby, it's going to be a juvenile soon, juvenile bearded dragon, you're doing a good job, she's good, she seems fine, you know, keep doing what you're doing. But then I took her to the Serpentarium, which we're actually going to pass right now on the freeway. I wasn't actually taking her there for a free checkup, I just wanted to take her there so that they could see her size and tell me what size of crickets or dubias to check. And anyway, the lady there, again, I don't know if she's a manager, just a worker, I don't know. She was like, she gave me the free checkup without even me asking. And she was like, you know that she's a little bit overweight, right? Yeah, she's like, she's a little pudgy. You know? You might want to just be careful, not feeding her too much. And then they were like, yeah, and she seems to have a respiratory infection, the way she opens her mouth. And I was like, oh my God, because I've been reading about these reptiles, and one of the main things that they get sick with is the respiratory infection. And the whole thing was, you know, the Serpentarium kept giving me, oh, it has to be at 20% humidity. And then other people kept saying other humidity. But I literally spent about, I would say 50 plus another 50, that's 100, plus my membership, that's like about 275, no, 175, plus the second vet visit was another 100, so 375, 405. So in the end, I spent about almost $600 to get her an x-ray. The Serpentarium people, the store, they told me to take her to a certain vet. And nothing against that vet, I had to drive to another city to take her there. And then the vet came back out and was like, she's not overweight, she's fine, her lungs sound fine, her heart sounds fine, she's doing great, blah, blah, blah. And I kind of felt like he was just telling me what I wanted to hear. And I was like, and I didn't tell him this, but I thought in my head, the Serpentarium people told me to come here, and yet he is like telling me, you know, the opposite of what the Serpentarium people are telling me. So what's the deal? You know, this vet that the Serpentarium people had told me to go to was basically not even caring and not telling me, just telling me, oh yeah, she's fine, just to get me off the list and go on to the next puppy or dog or whatever. And again, I could be wrong, nothing against them. Their customer service could use a little tune-up, but that's another story. So I finally went back to the original vet, and they were like, okay, we can do an exam again. And they're like, but we're gonna need an x-ray. You know, the best way to find out if she has anything with respiratory infections or anything is an x-ray. He listened to her heart, he took a swab out of her throat just to see if there was any, because he's like, they're gonna have bacteria in their throat. We all have bacteria in our throats, it's normal. But I'm gonna check and see if she has other bacteria that's like infectious bacteria. That'll tell us that if she has infection, you know. And then the whole x-ray, I was like $220. I was just like, oh my gosh. And to be honest with you, I don't care about the money. That was like on Friday. I took her in on Monday to do it. I felt so bad that I couldn't do it at that moment. But I took her in on Monday to get one tiny little x-ray for a 6-inch princess reptile. Anyway, he came back out, and I was like expecting them to give me a picture or a copy of the x-ray. Got nothing. I had to tell him, can I take a picture of your iPad's photo of the x-ray? And I did. He let me take a picture of that, which I appreciated. He's a very nice vet, and I am so taking Sophia there from now on. I'm sorry, Serpentarium. I like you guys. Good customer service, and that's where I'm going right now. Do your research, you know, find the best, and know that it's gonna cost. Philip, my cockatiel, lived with us 21 years, and I've already said this. I'm like, I think I've already spent, because Philip, all he needed was his food, and I would buy him his big bag, every big, you know, 5-pound bag of food every, couple of months. So I'm like, in the 21 years we had Philip. Oh, and the cage too. You know, we did have to upgrade his cage a couple of times. But I'm like, I'm already spending almost as much as I spent on Philip in 21 years. and I'm already spending as much, with Sophia in it's been 3 months, 2 months, and I don't mind doing it. I don't mind spending it because on top of the vet visits, which are already around $600, I've had to buy her. I bought her the original tank, 20-gallon tank. That was like $300. And they were like, you can go from a 20-gallon to a 30-gallon, and then go from a 30 to a 40, then to a 50. And I was like, no, I'm not going to be buying new, gallons or whatever, new geraniums every 4 months or 5 months or every year. So I just came one day here and I bought myself the biggest geranium they have. So now that's why I call her geranium her castle, because it's humongous. And so that was another like $500. So I've spent about $1,500 on this little princess, and she's worth it because she's adorable. But just know that they're expensive to not just to upkeep, but right now I'm gonna buy dubia roaches for her. I'm only gonna give her dubia roaches and then maybe a hornworm here and there. Dubia roaches for the large ones, because she can eat large ones now. I'm sorry, I put the mask on too soon. The dubia roaches are now, they're like 60 large dubia roaches for $20. And well, I'm a member, so I get like what, $1 off or $2 off. So it does get expensive. But these little bearded dragons are just, I love them. I love her so much, and I'm so invested in her well-being. And people that know me, my friends and family that have seen how much I've spent already on this baby bearded dragon, they're like, you need to get pet insurance for her, because I mean, yeah, and it's something that I will be looking into. She's gonna have to get her nails clipped eventually. She sheds. Sometimes she gets some shed. Her skin goes into her eye, and I have to bring. It's just a lot. So, and then when we go on vacations, because I like to travel a lot, I'm gonna have to board her. And here you can actually board the animals. It's $20 a day to board them, or like $300 a month. Not that I take month-long vacations, but I do like to take at least a 2-week or 3-week vacation every now and then. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Do your research on your bearded dragons if you ever get one. Buy a baby one so that they can imprint on you and you can grow with them. And just love them because they are adorable and they're worth every second you spend with them and every penny you spend for them.